Pandora.net.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Bachelor Happy Hour. I'm Joe.
And I'm Serena.
And we are here with some very exciting news, some very exciting guests. Bachelor Nation, please welcome the newlyweds, Mr. and Mrs. Bowers.
Yay!
Thank you for that, Serena. Congrats. We just watched your wedding video, which listeners, you can now watch on Bachelor Nation's YouTube channel. You guys just watched it back for the first time. How do you feel?
It was
moved.
Yeah, it was just as honestly, it was just as special and amazing, and I don't know, as I remember it, like it was awesome.
Also with the throwback, like the flashbacks,
that
we've had such a big year, and I think it's been, about a year since we spoke with y'all, but I mean, just so many things have happened, and so that was really cool to see it all kind of summed up.
No, it's
Officially, how long have you guys been together?
Well, we were we were
a year and 6 months.
Exclusive from the first trip of meeting each other.
Year and 6 months.
Yeah.
So a year and a half.
And how long has it been? And then when did you meet your daughter? I mean,
yeah. So you're important.
I met her from the beginning.
Yeah. The way I phrased that, as I was saying it, I'm like, what am I trying to say right now?
I got you. I know what you
Thank
mean.
you. Thank you.
No, it was my birthday, so it was October 19th, 2 times ago.
Nice.
Okay. For those listening, you should go watch the video. You don't have to, but you should go watch the video before listening to this podcast. It's beautiful. It was shot by Blakely.
Yes. So she just turned 8, and yeah, so we'll get into more details of how the wedding happened and like why we did how we did it, why we did it that way. But just know that we have like so many like professional photos, even like styled, like we've done engagement shoots where I was like wearing my mom's wedding dress, and actually the dress that I was wearing at the wedding was from a photo shoot that we did. So we have like these really baller like photos that we've taken together. And so I was like, this is going to be so much less like styled than that. Like I was doing my makeup in the car from getting our marriage certificate, and I was like, stop at Target, I need flowers and eyelashes. So I was like, I'm not really worried about the photos because they're going to be so much less than what we've done already.
And for me, like,
but then I was like, wait, no, I need photos. I need video. Blakely, can you video it for us? And she loves doing that. So she took it up, and that was her doing, and she loved doing it. I did have her, if you do watch the video, I noticed that if you might notice that she has switched positions, because from the beginning you can see all the cars in the background, and before we did our kiss, I was like, real quick, can you actually change the other side, Blakely? I really don't want that in the background. So she did great.
And for me, it was like, we got so many cool, like she said, we did so many cool styled shoots. Like for me, it was like, I don't know, I just wanted a special moment, and it was like, I feel like that's really what we had. So it was really cool.
I mean, for me personally, I find a video like this more engaging in photos that are more organic than like stylistic, photographed photos.
Yeah, no, there's something like super genuine or organic about the video because it is shot by your daughter, and it's like it's giving like modern day camcorder. You know what I mean? Like, it's on an iPhone, but she's like moving around.
And like now I even feel like professional videographers will shoot a HD video and try to turn it into what this is.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like make it,
like a filter. There's a filter for that. Yeah.
Literally.
They're gonna call it the Blakely filter.
The Blakely filter. That'll do. Yeah, she was like smacking the screen afterwards. She was like, applause. So
And it was such a switch too from how she was feeling prior to going up there. Like she had a tummy ache when her tummy was actually hurting pretty bad. Like I picked her up from school, and we had like told her we were getting married that day. Like we had already talked about it. And then like she was like, my tummy really hurts though. And I'm like, okay, we'll just wrap you up in a blanket. And then we gave her some some tummy medicine. And by the time she got there, she was like ready to party. So.
Yes.
Oh, that's so exciting.
All right, let's go to the beginning. How did this decision come to be?
Yeah, so you get engaged. What was your initial vision of your wedding?
Okay, so great question. So we got engaged very publicly. We've spoke on this, but it was, I was so surprised. It was just magical. It was so everything I could have dreamed and more. And public also.
Yes, for those who are listening, in case you missed it, which I'm sure you didn't, but they got engaged last year at the Golden Bachelor Wedding on TV.
On
We
TV,
all
yeah.
saw it. It was beautiful. We chatted with you guys. It was great.
Yes. So as far as you know, you guys have been there engaged, and then the questions are, when's the wedding? When's the wedding? When's the wedding? And so I was just like, man, I don't know. Like we moved in right after the wedding. That was the plan even before we got engaged. He had his truck packed up. We were making the drive from California to Tennessee. And, you know, that's an event in itself, like moving in together. So I don't know. I also used to be an event planner, a wedding planner. So I know how much goes into it. And so I was like, I really want to dedicate time. So we didn't really hop on like the whole like let's plan a wedding thing right away.
But once we did, and that's kind of when we got overwhelmed, because it's like my family's all in San Diego, her family's kind of scattered. They're in Tennessee, they're in New Jersey, you know, North Carolina. So it's like we have all these people from different areas, like trying to find a location that we wanted to get married in was going to be difficult. And then when we were looking at like pricing for it and planning and like, oh, if I invite this person, I have to invite this person. And then like, you know, we're going to spend so much time like trying to pick out flowers and pick out all this stuff. And it just like, we started like doing all this planning, and it really started to feel like the planning was for everyone else and not really for us. And it was like, when we were thinking about it, it's like, you know, we're the ones that are jumping into this commitment. Like, you know, it's a promise between the two of us, and, you know, it's also going to affect Blakely. And it was like, you know, so the three people that needed to be there were us three. And it was like, we wanted it to be a special moment that was just for us. And, you know, just like our promise to each other, and, you know, kind of just taking a moment to recognize that. And, you know, I had a couple friends that like, I went to their weddings and over the last year. And like, oftentimes I'll talk to them like, oh, like, you know, are you so glad you did it that way? Cause I was asking, I was like, you know, what do you think? Like, should we go and do this big thing? And they often told me, they're like, you know, it's just, they forgot. Like it was like, yeah, they just remember like a couple things about the wedding, but the whole thing, it was just gone in a flash. And it was like they kind of forgot the whole event itself, and they went back home and nothing really felt super different. And I don't know if that's the case for everyone. I know it's not the case for a lot of people, but like the thing that was so amazing is when we got married and the way we got married, it was like afterwards it did feel like there was a big difference, because it was like we didn't let like
you felt the weight of the commitment.
Yeah, it was like the amazement and awe of like weddings. I like it didn't like take away from
people being in town and having, because we're big on like, we want the guest experience. Like if we're doing something, like even if we just have people in town staying with us, like we just did for Christmas, like we want to make sure like our undivided attention is with them, making sure like everything's perfect. You know, the napkins are swans and like, you know, little things like that, which I mean, I know how crazy I get about that. And I know that like you're the same way too. And so we would probably be attending to them. And so we love doing that. And that's the thing. It wouldn't be a chore, but it's like, okay, well, it would be less about us. And so I don't know. I love the way we did it. It was really awesome. Also, it was 12/12/24. So that date was pretty cool.
I like that. 12's one of my lucky numbers.
Looky there.
Yeah, 12's one of my
your birthday?
It's one of my roulette numbers. Yeah.
It was fun when we were talking to the minister, because we called like an on-call ordained minister to
morning. Yeah, morning. We were actually like running around doing some chores for this video I had to make, and literally it was for, we'll just go ahead and say it was like for this TV had to be in this video for our social media. And the TV, we hooked it up. We went through all the process of like hanging it up. And I'm like, we really don't have to do this right now. Like we have a wedding today. Like, shouldn't we just go get our marriage license? Because we hadn't done that yet. We did it day of. And we plug it in. We're like, no, it's just be nice to get it done. So we plug it in and it was cracked. Like the screen had been cracked. So then we're like, oh my gosh.
That was after we.
But
that was the first one.
We took it down that day.
We bought a fixed one. Yeah, we took down the broken one and we replaced the broken one with the new one. Because I was like, this is not.
We had to go to like different Targets around town. Like we went to one that ended up being 40 minutes away after already going to several others that said they had that TV in stock, to go get that TV.
This is the day that you were getting married.
The day up, and and then we came back and I was like, okay, so we got it. And he's like, no, this is what I was remembering. We were like, we have to put it up right now because it's gonna be like in my head, is it cracked also? And so he was like, okay, we have to at least get it out of the box.
I can't focus on marrying you until I plug this TV in.
I needed the TV to not be cracked. Like it was a sign for me. It was a sign for me. And we had
called on-call officiants, oncall.com or whatever, and she was like, yeah, just let me know like where to meet you and what time. We're like, all right, TBD. And then so she kept texting and we're like putting this TV up and getting out of the box, and it's like huge. I'm like, I don't want to sweat. I need to do I hadn't done my makeup at all. That video that's in the video that you guys should watch is in the beginning of it where we have our marriage license. You can definitely see I have zero makeup on. And I was like, what do I wear? You know, sweatpants. It ended up that the dress that I was wearing was from a styled shoot we had already done. So I had no clue what I was going to wear. The jacket's from Target. Not sponsored at Target yet, by the way, but.
So Valentine's Day is coming up. You know everybody's going to be
on your entree at Qdo.
And QR code at checkout. One offer per member.
To learn more about Beachbound,
offers a robust rewards program. Chemical.
This Valentine's Day, celebrate every love. Choose from styles full of sparkle and
I feel like most people would listen to this and be like, this is crazy. But you are talking to two people that woke up and got married like we were going to get coffee. Like we woke
Oh, wait, really?
We got married a year before our wedding at the courthouse, and we treated it very similarly to you guys. Like I had bought some dress from Aritzia that I owned already, and I was like, oh, I'll just buy some white and I'll throw it on. I threw it on. It was like completely see-through. So I put on like faux leather pants and like a cardigan. It's like really not my best outfit.
I was like dressed to go to the gym after. I was like, I got to go to the gym after.
Yeah. So
that's awesome.
That.
Yeah,
well,
it was so
that
night.
I had to work that night too. That's awesome.
See,
okay,
I
you guys did it.
I didn't know that about your guys' story. That is so awesome.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. When was the deciding moment when you get engaged? You like, you know, we know how much a wedding is going to be. Let's just like think on it and figure it out later. Like,
wait, before keep that going, but I just want to jump in real quick, just because I think it's much more different for guys. So I take me and Brayden out of the equation. But Christina, when you were a young girl, did you always want a big wedding? Because I know that's like a thing.
The problem is with me having planned hundreds of weddings for other people, and no longer. But I won't. I'll urge you to not take Brayden out of the equation, because he was very excited originally. He wanted this big.
Okay, I got excited about like a party. So I was thinking we'll have a food truck, we'll have a van that has like hot dogs. Like I'm thinking like the reception. I'm not thinking the actual like ceremony of the wedding. Like,
no, I'm saying when we're younger, like as a boy growing up, I don't picture my wedding.
Right.
Where I like for a young girl, that's kind of like a thing.
No, honestly, for me, and this is going to sound weird because I, was on the same show as all of us were, with our, I feel weird about doing like kissing and stuff in front of my family. I think as a child, that was always what was in my head. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to kiss in front of my family.
That's so funny.
Got over that.
Like the show actually took that away for me.
Yeah,
because I was like, you've seen me like straight up making out in a hot tub. Like,
wait, that's a great. Okay, side note questions though. I know, like, how did everyone deal with that with their families? I feel like that's an interesting question. Like, were you guys like don't watch? Because I told my family, I'm like, do what you want. I'm not gonna watch it with you, but like at your own.
Honestly, I was living at home because it was COVID, and I was like locked in the house with my family. So I was watching every week with my parents and my sister.
Oh.
And I think I was just like watching your own risk. Like if you see something you don't like that's not my fault. Like it is a dating show, and you know that I kissed him. So like I'll try to warn you of like anything that may be a little scandy, but like I'm not like watching your own risk. And if this gets too weird, then like we'll watch separately. But I was more just like, let's just not talk about it. Like let's just keep moving,
It's like if you're watching a regular, any kind of movie and something comes on, you're like, just don't address it. Let's keep rolling.
See, that was it reminded me when I watched it with my family of like when I was a kid, like how I used to cover my eyes. Like my aunt and my mom, when they were watching it, were covering their eyes just screaming. They're like like they just didn't want to see me kissing anyone. And so it was like super loud in my house every night that the show aired. So
my parents definitely said it was weird. They were like, I've never, because not only do our parents not watch us like make out with people most of the time, but most of the time never for us at least.
That's the title. That needs to be the title of the
yeah.
Don't watch us make out.
They also just don't watch you like interact in the early stages of a relationship. Like you're like, they're like, it's weird seeing you like flirt with someone and all these things. So yeah,
absolutely.
But so Christina,
no, we never even had this. I haven't had this conversation with my family, so
your parents wouldn't care.
All I would do after episodes was I just wanted an assessment on how I came across
and looked physically.
It's like how was
I? Was I handsome?
And they would just be like, "You were great." I'd be like, "That's all I needed to hear."
Yeah, no, my family was like, my aunt was like, "You're the villain. You're the villain," and I'm like, "Oh my god."
Yeah.
So taking it back to my question. knowing all the factors that went into this decision, you didn't want to kiss in front of your family. You guys are mega hosts and you wanted, it to be focused on you and your love story versus like hosting other people. What was the turning point of like, okay, we're doing this. This is what we're going to do.
Yeah, honestly, our Thanksgiving trip, like we went back to San Diego to see my family for Thanksgiving, and it was like it was an amazing trip. It was like
before this, I had been totally sold on like, let's do that. Let's go elope or just like run away. With the exception of we always knew that Blakely wanted to be there, or she would be very upset.
And so for me, it was kind of just like when I went home to see my family, it was like it was an amazing trip. We had an amazing time together, and it was just I don't know, it was so hard for everyone to get into town. It was so hard for everyone to get together. And it was like, when I was thinking about it, I was like, it's just going to be so difficult to arrange this and make this happen.
And then not be able to spend the time with them.
And then exactly. And then not even be able to spend the time with them. And so it was like, I was enjoying just partying with my family and then partying with Christina and partying with Blake. And it was just like, it was so much fun to have a carefree environment where we were just getting together and celebrating the holidays and just like partying together and having fun. And it was like, I was like, I don't need the ceremony with all them. We'll do a big celebration and we can have this of just like this carefree like environment. And that would be so much more special to me. You know what I mean? And so it was like, I mean, we could have like, oh yeah, this is our anniversary, our 1 year anniversary party. But at the same time, it's like, but it's not necessarily like we're going to be sitting down and, doing our pictures and visits and stuff like that. It's going to be just like hanging out and just casual.
We kind of just allowed ourselves to make the decision to be like selfish. And it was, a bit selfish of us, but yeah, we did it. We did
it. I felt, it was hard too. Like, we waited till the holidays to tell everyone too. So it was kind of like, ahead of time, they knew we were like planning to get married and they didn't.
To Blakely, she kept it a secret.
Blakely didn't really tell anyone either. And then we kind of just told everyone during Christmas, we're like, yeah, so we got married, guys. And they're like, what?
Did you have anyone that expressed frustrations about that or felt like they got gypped?
Not necessarily. I think that, I don't know.
According to Christina's face, there was someone.
I just had something in my eye.
Yeah, no, it was definitely, I understand.
Less than expected.
It wasn't bad. Like, it wasn't like they were actually upset.
Not
like, they wanted to be there. It was more like they were bummed we waited so long to tell them, which is totally understandable. Like, 100%. We waited 2 weeks to kind of like share the news with everyone. Because in our head, we're like, oh, we'll share it on Christmas and like it'll be special. But so I understand like that. Like if the only thing that maybe I might have told them sooner. Because but we just got so caught up because life just like,
I had to work that night.
It wasn't like life stopped for us getting married. It was like we got married and then like, we went right back to it. Like, Blakely has school, she does piano, she does basketball, I have my work, I'm going back to school. Like there's a bunch of things that we got going on. And so it was just like, we just got, we got to have our special moment and we still got to celebrate it and enjoy it between us. But it was like finding the time to sit down and call everyone and tell everyone. We just, it got pushed back.
Because once we tell one person, we had to tell everybody.
Yeah, because the last thing I wanted is like to tell one person and then have them tell someone else. So I was like, okay, when we call and tell everyone, we have to sit down and call everyone. Because if someone else finds out from someone else, this is going to be
100%.
bad.
100%.
Do you need? It's just one witness you need, right? Your daughter was that.
We actually
witness?
didn't need one.
Yeah,
we thought
really?
we did. Yeah,
Tennessee.
She would have counted if there needed to be one. I don't think she would have counted as a human.
Well, and we thought we were going to need a witness too, and we had people lined up to kind of like be there, and be witnesses. But then we ended up like
in our head, not like telling them.
Right,
but
just
we
in
ended
case.
but we ended up being good. So yeah.
Were you worried at all because you said that you found your minister on like a random site online? Were you like, damn, hopefully this girl's good? Like, she did a great job, honestly. Like, I really loved what she said about like the hands and everything in your.
She shows. Oh wait,
she's actually
two things that we need to mention is one about the in the video you can see the certificate, and then two that when she showed up she recognized him. She's like, do you ever get what'd she say?
Oh yeah, she 1 second, guys. 1 second. Sorry, my dog is running around.
Good.
I'll go ahead and so she shows up. So we call the on-call. We're literally in the Target parking lot. He's like, well, let me just search. And he searched it. I'm like, that's not gonna work. Like, I know word of mouth or like, let's go get a preacher or something, like go and walk into a church or we'll find somebody. And so he finds this girl. She's like, yeah, I can do it today. I'll show up there. Yeah, gives us the price. And we're like, awesome, like TBD on when we're gonna be doing it. So we ended up telling her. We passed by on the way to get the marriage certificate, this gazebo that we ended up doing it at right next to the
you just found it like on the way to Target?
Like, well, we pass by it often, but we're like, they had put red bows on it for Christmas. And we're like, that looks sick. Let's go there.
Oh, so you didn't have that. You didn't have that spot like pre-planned like a week prior?
No, it was
0%.
We knew that so ahead of time. So when we went home, as soon as we came back from the trip, we're like, hey, as soon as we got back from the trip, we're like, hey, we want to get married. Like, let's do this thing.
There's this bench that we kind of liked on this trail. We're like, maybe there. But
yeah, we're like, we're like, we're in our head, we're like, we just want to get married. Let's sit down and like, let's actually talk about just getting married.
What year are you guys from? There's this patch on this trail that we like. Let's do it there.
It's actually a cute bench. It's like, so there's like this park trail and there's this single red bench. And like, oftentimes I'll go on walks and I'll walk over there and there's like cardinals that are flying around. And it's like, it's so cool because it's the only red in the entire area.
Like half a mile walk for this poor woman to get to. So we're like, no, probably not. So anyway, we see the gazebo.
We're like, that's
how we find it. So anyway, it's kind of a walk from even where we parked anyways. And so play back the video. And I didn't know this until yesterday. I was yesterday years old. You're like, oh, you got it on video. I'm like, got what on video? The marriage certificate had fallen out of his back pocket while he was carrying Blakely to the gazebo. And I was just like videoing him walking, and you could see it like right there on the ground, plain as day. And I didn't realize this had even happened. And so when the woman had walked up, she walks up, she's like, hey, do you guys need this? So she had picked it up and found it.
No way. That is really lucky. That could have fully blown away.
For sure. And so then, I mean, she knew your name. Maybe she was just saying it that way, but she said, do you ever get, or maybe she didn't know.
No, she didn't know who I was. So she
knew your name, but she didn't know the guy from the show's name or something.
Yeah. Well, she knew my name, but she didn't know the guy from the show's name. And so she's like, have you ever gotten it that you look like the guy from the Bachelor show?
Paradise.
She's like, from Paradise. He wore those crazy earrings. She's like, I mean, you have earrings, but you're not wearing you're just wearing studs right now. You're not wearing like crazy ones. And I'm
joking.
like, are you teasing me right now? And she's like, no, what do you mean? I'm like, well, that was me. And she's like, what? And then she was like, oh my gosh, I get to marry you guys. And I'm like,
that's cool.
Well, yeah, no, she had done like Married at First Sight.
Which we had no clue when they were in Nashville. So yeah, she's like, I know what to do. Like, I got it. And
she did amazing.
Yeah. She crushed.
She made it so special. I mean, it was like, even what she wrote.
We're like, don't tell anybody.
Yeah, it was funny. She's like, can we get a picture? And we're like, and she's like, don't worry, I won't post it. She's like, this is just for me. And so it was really cool.
Aww,
and then like when she went to go drop off the marriage certificate, she sent us a picture. She's like, it's official, guys. And so it was really cool.
Yeah, that worked out.
So Valentine's Day is coming up.
Guacamole free.
Members only. Log into your account or scan.
Report in one search. To learn more about Beachbound,
offers a robust rewards program full of premium items and experience.
They celebrate every love story with Pandora. Files full of sparkle and heartwarming symbols that capture.
So when you were walking to the gazebo with
from first sight to forever on Valentine's Day and every day, be love. Shop Pandora jewelry today in store or online at pandora.net.
So when you were walking to the gazebo with Blakely, did you know in that moment that she was going to film it, or was that
I do that all the time.
Yeah, so Christina, and I think that people need to understand this. So growing up, Christina, because her mom would be on the road often.
Yeah, my mom was at like 300 days of the year when I was growing up. So I had like Kelly, my babysitter that lived with us. She was like, her assignment was video camera record Christina so mom can watch it and have these videos. And so it's 24/7. I'll be like, video me. And I'll be like dancing. And it's like, hey, look at me. You know how everyone's like, kids are like, look at me do this. And it's like,
and so, yeah, so she has,
that's me all the time now. And then
it's so cute, but it's like, I mean, you guys would have to see, like, there's boxes of like film footage that she has from her growing up. And so it's like, for her, it's not
Blakely. It's like anything. I'm like, oh my God, that cereal you're eating, it's so cute.
And it's like, so she literally records everything. So for me, it's like, it wasn't like, a lot of times the video she records is just for her. You know what I mean? Like, again, like she wants to save these special moments that she can go and look back, and like we can go and look back together. And so it's like, in that moment, it was like, oh, she's like, I do want to get a recording. She's like, she's like,
I couldn't do it.
She's like,
not do it at all.
Like, I'm probably not going to post it.
No, you did the right thing. I feel like you would have regretted not having any video or photo footage at all.
So that was our first time watching it back in the video with you all. But Brayden had let me know yesterday, the day before. He said that Blakely didn't get the vows. I was like, what? Because like you said, like you kind of rarely watch back your own videos, and I don't know, like even like hearing my own voice, I'm like, ew, cringe. But I was like, she didn't get the vows, because we wrote our own vows. It was the day of, but when he went to go pick up Blakely from school, that's when we did it. That's when I wrote mine, and so we did it, and it was really special, and I love both of ours, and it's just gone, but that's fine.
But honestly,
it's totally
not
fine.
gone. It's not gone because it's, we have it, and like what I think is actually kind of makes that kind of special too is it kind of lets us still keep something for ourselves. Does that make sense?
But I didn't realize she did video.
It was like, I mean, we have everything that, everyone gets to see it, but that's like, it's kind of like it for me. It's like, yeah, it makes it special. It's like, that's our promise that like is between us. And so it's like, it kind of makes it like, I don't know, more.
There you go.
More intimate.
Like, good job. Like,
maybe that's weird. That's
yeah, way to go skipping out on the vow. She knew that was the move. She did it on purpose.
Brayden.
But did you guys write your vows down? Because you could always like have them like printed out or something in a book too.
So in that 15 minutes that he went to go grab her from school, I wrote down the first part in my phone, and then I was like, that's gonna get me started, and then I'm gonna wing the rest because I don't have much time. So I have the first part.
There you go.
Brayden, what were you more nervous for to do? Was it the engagement or getting married?
Good question.
I think the engagement, like for me, getting married was something that like once I proposed, I knew I wanted to get married. So it was like it was story was over, just like how we were gonna do it. You know what I mean? And so like for me, that's where I was at. I was like, I just want to marry this woman. You know what I mean? And it was like, and again, like marriage, I think. At least for me, like marriage is something that is very like it has a very special meaning. It's like I hold in high regard, and it's like it's that commitment. It's that person knowing that beyond just like we're gonna get married. It's no, I'm spending the rest of my life. I'm not just saying it. I'm backing it with my actions. I'm bringing it all in line.
I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, I'm not going anywhere. And so that's what I wanted to bring to our relationship, where it's like we already knew that, but it takes it a step even further.
I felt, like I said before, I felt the weight of, for sure, like in a good way, in a great way, of like the difference. And I think, without all the other, for as chaotic as it sounded like that day was, it really was the least chaos that it would have been. Also, that was just like a normal day for us.
Yeah.
And I think that we really got to feel the difference. And I still feel the difference. Because I mean, you guys are a couple. We have, I don't want to say like fights, but yeah, fights. I mean, our disagreements, happen very often. And so, I mean, even just the weight of
very often,
like,
just very often.
I know. I'm like,
often,
whoa,
like
what?
A few times.
They happen way too much.
Every second of every day. Can I save me? No. What does it help me? But I mean, yeah, just to know, like, okay, like we're gonna figure this out. Like, there's no kind of. Yeah, we're not going anywhere, I think was the big one for me.
And so with that, marriage was more something I was looking forward to extremely. The engagement I was very nervous about, and I wasn't it wasn't that I wasn't looking forward to it, but it was very much like I'm very nervous to go do this. I mean ahead of time, like I knew I was going to get some flack because again, it was at a wedding, but I mean, I had permission and I had spoken to, both Gary and Teresa beforehand. So it was like, I mean, for me, it was like, I was a little bit more nervous about the engagement, and I was more looking forward to getting married and just doing it and like having that for us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I guess when you're proposing too, like you knew she wasn't going to say no, but it's still that like, but what if she says no?
We've talked about that though.
Whereas like at the wedding, like you're
well, not necessarily. That's the wedding's the last chance to back out.
Totally, but like the odds are way less.
The odds are way less
because it's like she didn't know he was gonna propose to her, but she knew she was getting married that day.
Yeah.
And also beyond that too, like what people
I know, hopefully.
But that day that we were getting engaged, when we were getting our nails done, she decided to tell me a story about this girl that she had been watching. And her best friend was getting proposed to.
Was getting proposed to in Australia the same day, which I knew, which kind of distracted me from what's going on where we were. And so I was like, talking to her twin sister, like helping her with anything that I could from where I was. And so like really paying attention to that. And he jokingly says like, oh, do you think she's going to say yes? And I'm like, I said, I wonder what she's gonna say, because I meant like she's gonna freak out because her whole family got flown in, and I mean like she's not expecting this at all. Like I wonder what she's gonna say, and he said, well, she's gonna say yes, right? I was like, well, that's not what I really meant. But while we're on the topic, I think that girls should be more vocal and like willing to say no, because it's such a meaningful, like once in a lifetime moment for most women. And like, they just think like, oh, why don't you say yes? And then you'll tell them no later. But like, whoever they end up marrying later is probably going to see it. Like, imagine if there's cameras or something, like they'll see that video. And I'm just like going on and on. I'm like,
which, like I'm totally with you on what you're saying, by the way. But
I used to watch these
crazy
videos.
Timing that's what you're saying to
There would be these videos like on Facebook or YouTube or whatever, where it's compilation of like girls saying no, and it's like a flash mob in the mall, and then she's like saying no. And back in the day, I'd be like, why didn't she just say yes and like save everyone the embarrassment? But now I'm like, no, good for you, girl. Like you're.
And I'm sitting there like, dear God, I'm gonna get turned down on this big. Like I'm gonna make a fool of myself right now. I'm like, it's over.
And I had no knowledge of what was going on. I was so surprised. But I'm like, yeah, I can't imagine. Poor guy.
I can't believe you kept it in. Joe would have told me. Like, if Joe and I are sitting at the nail salon and we're having that conversation, you would have been like, all right, so
yeah,
I have to talk to you about something.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, I think this is a good place to end part 1. Thank you guys so much for tuning into Bachelor Happy Hour. We're going to pick it up with these two for part 2. We're going to get into what they got going on now, honeymoon talks.
Yeah, what's next?
What's next? So make sure you stay tuned.
Thank you for listening, and don't forget to subscribe. Bye.